Hello, everyone. My name is Trish McCabe, and welcome to Conversations from the School of Hard Knocks. This is a podcast where people from all walks of life will be sharing their stories and the wisdom they have gained from their life experiences. In no way is this show offering any kind of advice or counsel. These conversations will be of a very sensitive nature, so please be respectful in your comments, and thank you for watching. Hello, everyone. My name is Trish McCabe. Welcome to Conversations from the School of Hard Knocks. Today, I have my guest Opal to join me again. Yay.
Hi.
Love it. This is our part 3 of Insecurities and where they come from. And today, we're going to talk about our bodies, our self-image, and how we grow up and learning what is acceptable and what isn't, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it.
Basically, yeah.
Basically. So I'll just start at the top. It goes back, and we've done this a little bit in the previous shows, but it deserves being repeated because it's just so damaging. So right off the bat, we're going to talk about physical fitness in school and sports and the dynamic, the setup of what happens when you're in PE and all of that. And when they do these physical fitness measuring of each other and how that affects us. So I'm going to let you start with your experience, Opal, on that.
I was always one of the bigger kids in the class. And even in kindergarten and, elementary school, I was always bigger than the other girls. And I can remember us doing the week of physical fitness where they do your body mass index. You're supposed to hit certain metrics and whatnot, or you fail. Well, guess what? I never hit those matrices. Never. I mean, I've always been a bigger girl. And, I can remember, getting up there and then measuring my body fat. And, at that point I started comparing myself to other girls because they're not my size. Well, why aren't they my size? Why am I not their size? Why are they pretty and I'm not? Why are they getting the boys to flirt with them and I don't? It's just, and it went on like that probably until I was a senior, because I was pregnant and really didn't get to partake in any of the PE activities because I could just walk around. My high school, I took my first, I took my first year of PE and only had to take a half a semester my senior year because of other reasons that are for a different conversation.
Yeah.
But PE in general, they peg you against the other girls, because
sure
once you hit a certain age, girls go have PE in their class and boys have their own PE class. And if you're not in athletics, because you're uncoordinated and clumsy and your feet are bigger than the rest of your body, so to speak.
That's what I was told. Mm-hmm.
And you have to do PE, and the coaches yell at you and try to get you to speed up with everybody else. Bruh, I do not run like everybody else, man. Leave me alone.
How about being called Fat Pat in front of the whole classroom?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get you to get motivated.
Yeah, no, you're not trying to get me to get motivated. You're putting me down in front of everybody, dude. That's not right. Cool.
That's right. What's so crazy is me when I was started off in the physical fitness, the big feet, I was bony. I was told I was bony. I didn't have any body mass. So I felt so awkward and unattractive. And then what was crazy is once you go through puberty and everything, I started putting on weight. Then I wasn't good enough that way either. It was just like you couldn't win no matter what you did, you know.
No, you're
Um,
absolutely right. You know,
yeah.
I was always the bigger kid. Uh and I went through puberty and my hips got bigger and my boobs got bigger and my stomach
Yes.
got bigger. And it was
My
like,
butt got bigger. That was really
dude,
bizarre. It's a-
dude, I used to I used to walk the halls and the guys would either sing Baby Got Back, Let Me Ride That Donkey,
Oh no.
or
Oh,
Fat Bottom Girls. And you know,
mhm.
it was kind of, you know, it was mixed emotions because it's like, oh, they're noticing, but wait, they don't want to date me. You know, they only wanted one thing. So it was, half of me was like, oh my God, yes. And the other half of me was like, oh my God, no, let me cover up.
Attention,
This
but
is really weird.
not the way you
Yeah.
want it. Right.
Yeah. No, definitely not. And it was just, it was horrible.
Very, very
And,
uncomfortable for sure.
you know, and it, puberty is weird anyway. I mean, everybody goes
It's so
through it.
awkward.
It's it's so weird. It really is. It's like the dudes, their voices are cracking, which I could absolutely imagine plays a big factor in their self-esteem
For sure.
because they never know when it's going to happen
Right.
and they feel very self-conscious about it. I mean, I have a younger brother. I can, you know, I can imagine. I remember what
Yeah.
it was like when he went through puberty, but you know,
Then you
everybody
have
is,
this, you know, you just feel self-conscious all the time,
yeah, you become very aware of your body and then you realize everybody else is very aware of your body too. And it's just like,
especially with the comments.
yeah.
Hmm.
It's a little unnerving. It really is. And I
The
mean,
thing that helped me in high school was he called me Fat Pat, and I got mad. I had joined a weightlifting and running class, and I'm
mhm.
like, I could outrun any of these girls. He goes, oh yeah, and so I did, and I went, oh my god. And all
I
that
can
time they
do
told me I
that.
was a klutz and everything else. I knew really good at tennis, really good at volleyball, and I was a natural. And all those years, I didn't even go to. I would not go to PE. I wouldn't dress up. I wouldn't even go. They gave me an F. I didn't care. I just didn't want to do it. And this time I had to. I forget what the reason was for. I needed the credits, you know, to
Mhm.
graduate. So and that was a huge blessing because then I learned that, oh, wait a minute, it's not true. And that's so sad. So, what is it?
Yeah.
It's like, don't believe what people tell you in school.
Oh
Don't,
yeah.
even as a
No,
teacher
absolutely
or a
not.
coach or, you know, a senior or whatever. Don't believe that. It's just not true. You know,
Oh yeah, no. And
not true.
I try to remind my 15-year-old all the time
Oh, yeah.
that, you know, what you think everybody else is thinking of you doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
what you think of yourself. And at that age, you're so consumed with looks because it's so ingrained in society. It's just from the moment you enter into the scene, it's all about, you know,
What you look like when we were
what you
growing
look
up.
like, what you wear.
Fashion, of course, is plays a big role. When we were growing up, Brook Shields was big with Jordache jeans. And
Yeah.
so that was long legs. And I was short. I'm 5'2" if I'm lucky. You know what I mean? So I was able to compensate wearing high heels. That part was kind of cool, you know, because I could wear really tall ones and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like, and the stick figure jeans, you know, and you and I have talked about it. We're hourglass. We would have been really popular back in the 50s, you know, in the 60s
Yeah.
when that was the standard of that time. And so that was really difficult because I could never find clothes to fit me. And I have to go to thrift stores and things like that, buy guys' clothes. We talked about that because they're more
Mhm.
comfortable. They make them, and even now, still, they don't make clothes that are comfortable for the female form.
They don't, and they expect us all to fit into this one size fits all. I mean, here I am with really short legs, really short arms, and really long torso.
Yes,
If I
same
was to wear
here. Oh my gosh,
women's, if I was to wear women's shirts or women blouses,
they don't fit right.
they no. I raise my arms and everything hangs out, and I'm like, dude, this is not cute. It's just not cute.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
they do not take into consideration, once you get to a certain point, men, it's big and tall. Women, it's
Broad
plus size.
shoulders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
And you can totally have a dude that's like 250 pounds and 6 foot, and he be considered a stud. But you get a 5'5" girl who's 250 pounds and she's like a little roly poly. That's the way they look at it. And it's that double standard.
That I love
You
that
know,
you
I
you
mean,
mentioned that before. That's great.
I mean, I
It's
understand
okay
men and
for
women are built
guys,
different.
but it's not
Yeah.
okay for girls. And the guy can be big and rotund and but you better be skinny
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have linebacker
Mm-mm.
shoulders, and I've had linebacker shoulders forever and a half. So even if I was to get super duper skinny, I'd look retarded. I wouldn't look right. I would just, I'd be like this diamond shape and then, a butt.
Exactly.
And
And it's all based around that that you got to look there's a standard for everyone and that's impossible. It robs people of their individuality,
absolutely.
right? I mean,
Absolutely.
when you think about actresses, I mean, if you really got real, they're all built differently. They're all beautiful in
Oh,
different ways. So
for
what?
sure.
Some of them are tall. Some of them are shorter, like Holly Hunt, and they're
Hmm.
all beautiful in their own way. They're beautiful actresses. They're famous for being attractive. But if you got real, then
Oh,
none of them look the
absolutely.
same. They're not built the same. They're all
Hmm.
different. Some have bigger breasts, some have smaller and whatever. And so it's crazy that we've accepted that when it's not actually real. It isn't true, right? So and then when you talk about the entertainment industry, then that's a whole other thing, of having to,
Oh, yeah.
people want to look like the Kardashians, you know what I mean? Which had started this whole trend of big butts and big lips. And if you didn't have those, you weren't, it's like, huh? It just was like, now we got that going
And
on and people getting collagen and butt implants
and
and
wearing these waist trainers and all this kind
yes,
of stuff. And I
yeah.
had a friend of mine back in the day, the group of ladies that I was working with, they were all wanting to do the waist training thing, and I'm going, dude, that's not healthy.
Then there's that. Hmm.
I mean, because it's one thing to wear a workout vest that helps you when you're building muscles and all that kind of stuff. It's another thing to wear the waist trainer, because the waist trainer, you basically have to make it so tight that you can't even breathe. And you're supposed to wear it for X amount of hours a day so that it can reshape your body.
That's like the corset.
But
And look, remember what
exactly,
that did to women. Many
it's,
women had all kinds
oh
of health
yeah,
issues from that.
it's a modern version of the corset. And I mean, I'm very thankful that I wasn't born back in the 1800s, because I would have been like Alice off of Alice in Wonderland, and be like, no, I'm not going to wear it. I'm not comfortable. It's just not going to happen. Because I wore a corset for my prom. And I remember by the end of the night, I went to the bathroom, took that thing off. It was
And it's
dancing
it's
without it.
abuse. It's
Yeah.
it's it really is promoting abuse, physical abuse
Mm-hmm.
of yourself, right? I mean, and then let's go
Mm-hmm.
back. Then we get into all the other things of, like, and I didn't even put this on my list of eating disorders. And the first one that comes to my mind is Karen
Mm-hmm.
Carpenter. Karen Carpenter, they found her in the closet because she ate too many tacos because she had bulimia and anorexia. And she was
Mm-hmm.
not fat ever.
Yeah.
Ever. She was
And
never overweight. And where she got that, somebody must have told her something, or the industry. And Judy Garland is another one. They had her on diet pills,
yeah.
and she got
And
on drugs
laxatives.
because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then she became an alcoholic. And man, I mean, now you read about those stories in the making of Wizard of Oz and how abusive that was. And
Mm-hmm.
just this, for what? I mean, look at Michael Jackson. I mean, it never was enough. He
Yeah.
just kept having the surgeries because it became a little bit of an obsession to try to get that perfect look, to where he almost didn't. Remember when he almost lost his nose? Literally, he didn't have anything
He did.
left.
He
Oh,
did. He was wearing a prosthetic nose by the end of it.
oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh my God. Like,
You
why?
know.
And that's a great, way of showing that he didn't love himself. And when you look at him when he was young, he was beautiful. There was
Oh,
nothing wrong with him. He was
he was
handsome
a
as
handsome
can be,
man.
for
When
sure.
he was
So sad.
doing Rock With You,
My favorite
that
record. I
first
love that record.
song,
And the dancing. Oh yeah, he was such a great
yes, it was
dancer.
amazing. And it was like you could there was a video on YouTube, and I can't remember how I came across it, but it did, you know, Michael Jackson through the years, and it just pictured his face, and it just kind of transitioned. It showed this one, and then it, showed this one and showed this one. And it was about 5.5 minutes of it just doing that. And, he passed away in what, 2009? And, by the end of it,
He was
he
50, right? I believe
he didn't he didn't even look like the Michael Jackson that I grew up with. And I grew up with Michael Jackson when he was, bad and,
he didn't even, and he had had some surgery on that
scream.
record. Even
He'd already
he
had
had already
surgery by
had,
then.
yes.
And,
Mhm.
he definitely didn't look like the Michael Jackson my parents grew up with.
Me, I mean, he was one of my idols. I got into music because of him. He was one of my, I listened to him sing. That's how I learned to sing. And so I mean, and he was just such an incredible force to be reckoned with as an entertainer, as a
Oh,
vocalist,
absolutely.
and his spirit, just really
Mhm.
came through. So to see that happen to him over time, it's heartbreaking. But that's what
It
happened to me. And
is.
I'm in the industry, and I can't tell you, I was talking with a friend today about that, constantly being told, why don't you reveal your breasts? Why don't you take a sexy picture of yourself and put it on the record? And I think of what Adele says, I sing to be heard, not to be seen.
Right.
I'm a singer. Why does the size of my breasts have anything to do with what I do?
Sex sex sells. That's exactly what it is. And, unfortunately, it's not just with women, it's with men too. I mean,
Yes.
you get men in the industry, and there are certain parts, or they have to bulk up or whatever else. Let's just take Magic Mike for instance. Great movie, nice eye candy, but at the same time, an actual dude that looks like that most of the time is unrealistic. And I mean, us over sexualize, us females
And
over
that's another one.
sexualizing that movie. I mean, could we imagine how it makes the men feel?
For
Just
sure.
like, they over sexualize somebody, let's just say Carmen Electra, or um crap, Cameron
Any
Diaz.
Cameron
Yeah, any
Diaz,
of them.
right? Oh yeah, for sure.
They over
Right.
sexualize her. It's going to make us sit here and question ourselves.
For sure.
So, I mean, it's not just on the women's side, it's also on the men's side that things are over sexualized. And, you know, you're supposed to look a certain part.
That's a really good
And
one. I'm
there's,
so glad you brought up the sexual part because I think about, we go back to Brook Shields. She's my age. This happened. Her mother, she's just like, I don't even know how a parent could do this. She did a spread in Playboy magazine at 10 years old, naked, all greased down at 10 years old in the bathtub.
oh, that's disgusting.
And then of course she became the big Jordache model with the sexy, and she did Blue Lagoon, the movie which sexualized her. She was 15, maybe 14, 15 when she was in that movie. And I would venture to say, I can't speak for her, but I would venture to say that, at some point she got older and she said, I'm going to college and I'm taking a break from all of this. And she probably
Yeah.
might have got into some issues with her mother, but it's like she got old enough to say, no, I don't want to do that. Then when she decided to go back later, she did it because she wanted to. It was different, but how she was sexualized, at such a
Oh,
young
absolutely.
age, it's really, it's just creepy. But there's been a lot of that going on as well, sexualizing young girls, even
Mhm.
beauty pageants and all of that.
Oh, absolutely.
And all of these
John
things,
Bonet.
Jean Benet, that poor baby girl. I read that whole thing. That was so disturbing.
Oh, absolutely. And,
Mm.
this isn't even talking about the murder. I mean, just the fact that they took
And did
her
that with
childhood
her.
away and
She was so
made her,
young.
I mean, I think she's only a couple of years older. She would be a couple of years older than I am. And I remember looking at her picture, I don't know, when I was like 5 or 6. And why don't I to look like that? Well, hey, baby girl. Sorry, my dog just walked in. Hey,
And the
baby.
other thing about that is that's abuse. To do that to your child is
Oh, absolutely.
abuse. To make them tell them
Absolutely.
they have to look that way and dress like that and is so, I mean, no wonder people would think the parents did it,
Mhm.
this is what you did to her before it happened, so then for women in particular, that's in with industry and everything,
Oh,
how you
absolutely.
look and beauty and all of that. And it just
I remember,
topical how you look on the outside.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I remember I was in winter guard my 7th grade year, and we would go to competitions. And the outfit that we wore, it wasn't a skirt, thank God. It was jazz pants and a red glittery baseball t-shirt, kind of sort of, but it wasn't a baseball t-shirt, but it was short. And anytime I raised my arms to twirl my flag, my stomach showed. And I had to do this on stage.
Mhm.
And I was in 7th grade. We had to wear so much makeup that we basically looked like, women of the night. But it was okay because we were performing.
Stage makeup.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes. And then I get older and I get into bands and I'm constantly told I'm fat. I need to lose weight. I need to lose weight. I need to lose weight. It was like all the time, all the time. I mean, I was talking with my boyfriend about this. Is I got a record deal and I was nothing but a puppet. They told me how to
Yeah.
sing, when to talk, what to look, what to wear. I said, I can't do this. It's not me. I'm a
Yeah.
songwriter. This is part of my art. This
Yeah.
is a self-expression thing. And I passed up a record deal, but I just was like, why? I would be being somebody I'm not. There's nothing
Yeah.
that's worth that to me. And I'm so glad that I did it. I look back now, was that the right thing? Absolutely. Because they would have owned me. I mean, I would go to meetings
Yeah.
with them and they just have me sit there. And anytime I try to talk, be quiet, be quiet. You know what I mean?
What?
For real.
That's
For
not cool.
real. And I got offers to be in acting and all that. And I would go to the after parties with a boyfriend of mine that was actually a soap opera guy who's a long time ago. And anyways, man, I go to the after parties. No name drop. I'm not like that, but I would go to the after parties and I'm like, I would sit in the corner and go, what the heck? No, thank you. All the like competitiveness. I would go to the auditions with him and I'd just be there with him. I wasn't auditioning. And the girls would come in and just be like looking you up and down, like, ugh. I'm like, no, thank you. I got enough of that going on in the music industry.
Right.
That's enough as it is. At least I can have some bit of my own identity. But just the measuring up, and these women were gorgeous and they were giving me a dirty look. I'm like in my sweats and I don't even have any makeup on, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, look, what are you looking at? You look like freaking a model or whatever, and it was just, it's because, and it is so sad because what that makes you more insecure, because what's the scariest thing when you're a model or a beauty queen is when the next prettier girl comes along, because there's
Yeah.
always going to be somebody prettier than you by whoever standard or whatever. And then you realize that doesn't matter. And so, how is you're so devalued? It's so devaluing that face value. Your beauty is what gets you ahead in life, or physical attributes and whatever,
Yes. The superficial.
The superficial. Yeah. And I was talking with a friend of mine's niece who was beautiful. I mean, this girl was just gorgeous. And she admitted to me she's had a shift as of late. Now she's approaching 30. And she's realizing all that time that she put into being attractive, it never brought her anything. It only brought her guys that wanted her for her looks and not her.
Yeah.
The things that she was interested in outside of what she looked like. And that, they never wanted to get to know her. It was all just about, they either wanted some of what she's got attractive wise that way for themselves, and they wanted the trophy girlfriend.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Kind of thing. And she realized, oh my gosh. And now she's with someone that's nothing like that. She's like, why did it take me so long to figure this out? He treats her so well.
It sucks that it did take that long.
Yeah.
But who among us hasn't, taken a long time to learn something?
Right. Exactly.
But I'm glad she's learned it.
Yeah.
I'm glad
it made me so happy. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so great. And she's gone back to school. She's getting a degree, and she's awesome. Like a different person. But before, she was kind of stuck on herself a little bit, hung up on that power that you get, right?
The imaginary power that you get. Yeah.
Yes. The face value power where, if you
absolutely,
you're that beautiful, guys just gawk, even girls gawk. I mean, that's how beautiful she is. I mean, she doesn't even need a stitch of makeup. And now she could care less about any of that. And I'm just, I was so happy to hear that. So,
awesome.
But yeah, it can mess with us in so many different ways. Who else do we have on our list of famous people?
Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe. And look what happened to her. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's heartbreaking. I read her letter that she wrote to her psychiatrist when she was in the psych ward, the things that they did to her when she was in there. Oh, I mean, honestly, I kind of got the chills because it was like really disturbing what they treated people like in the mental wards back in the day, for one.
I will not disagree, because the standards for psychiatric help weren't there yet.
Yes.
And a lot of the stuff that they were doing was experimental.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Did you ever see that? That movie? Oh, is about that.
No,
that movie is about mental institutions and mental wards of that time and mental slavery. And that movie was a huge hit because no one talked about that back then. And I believe it had a lot to do with expanding mental health and psychiatry and psychology and all of that. But back to Marilyn Monroe, that letter, oh, you would cry your eyes out. It was just, oh my goodness. And that's just that. We don't even know all that she went through being Marilyn Monroe and all that was expected of her to have to live
Ruby,
up to that.
Ruby.
Puppy, is she not listening?
She she went
Ah,
into my daughter's room because I
uh-oh.
think my daughter's door is open and because I can see her. So I'm just trying to make sure that she's not doing something she's not supposed to be doing. Sorry about that. But yeah, no, Marilyn Monroe. And to be honest with you, the live Marilyn Monroe would be considered plus size by
And think
today's
about that. I
standards.
mean, and you know what I mean? It's like, but
She was
when the
gorgeous.
70s came in, they started slimming them down,
Yeah.
and the modeling world. Let's talk about that. I had a friend who was a ramp walk model where, when you go to Japan, they weigh you before you do the ramp walk. And if you don't weigh what you're supposed to, you don't
Hmm.
get to go. So
Yeah.
they lived on cigarettes and coffee and rice cakes and things like crackers and malnourished, not to mention the mental health of
Yeah.
just you're treated like a slab of meat. And they really, I don't know if it's that way now. I would think it's improved a bit, but still, when you look at how thin they are and have been up until very recently, you mentioned about Victoria's Secret. That's kind of cool. I like that.
Yes.
That's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
I saw their new ad campaign and it is for a wireless bra. And mm, they have women that look like I do up there. They're not stick figures. They have the curves. They have the bust. They're plus size. Um and it's it's refreshing to be able to see what are you
And
doing.
and we talked about that because that's really, if you get realistic, that's more the norm than the stick figures, that
Yeah,
stick figures with just boobs. I mean, they barely have any legs, a lot of those models,
you're right.
and again, they have eating disorders.
Most of
They're
them.
not allowed. Their career is built upon what they look like. And the same thing with
Hmm.
acting. It's rampant in the acting world. And even
Oh,
with
it is.
men, Brad Pitt, the Johnny Depps. I mean, if you don't look like that, you had to beef up and all of
Yeah.
that. The music world is a little different because you know it's still people we talked about, like David Bowie, open up the form for self-expression and in your art in
Hmm.
any ways with all his different looks. It just opened up doors for, hey, anything goes.
Yeah.
So that part was helpful being in the I was like, well, look at Aretha Franklin. She's not a skinny mini and nobody
Oh no.
cares. Or nobody
No.
cared if she's passed on. But the same thing with Adele. Of course, now she's lost weight, but it's because of health. She wanted to do it to
Oh
be
yeah.
healthy. It was for a different reason. She knew that she had a baby and she's like, I want to be around for my kid and I want to be healthy and all that. But for a long time, I mean, they just gave her such a hard time
Even
about
still,
having weight.
even what she looks like now, she's not a stick figure.
Yeah, and then there's that, you know what I mean? Because she's just not
She's not a
built
stick
that way.
figure. No.
Yeah, which is
And
great.
it's very refreshing because I mean, even at my skinniest, I'd never be able to be, 120 pounds. I'd never be able to be 120 pounds. My body is just not built that way.
And it's not
I
all it's
mean,
cracked up to be. I mean, I think I told you
no.
not long ago when I went through some big changes in my life, I got down to 100 pounds I didn't want that, but I was so
Yeah.
stressed that I was scared. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to be this skinny. And never in my life, it had just been where I was like, I don't care. I just want to be healthy. And then I was very thin. And that was really scary. So, man, women out there, love yourself, right? Because,
Absolutely. There's a couple of movies that I've watched probably within the last year that I would recommend for anybody to watch. One of them
oh,
is To the Bone.
oh,
To the
cool.
Bone is actually about a girl who has been battling with anorexia for quite some time.
Hmm.
And I'm not going to give away the ending, but she she goes through the ringer. The other one is I don't know if it's Nappy or Nappy Roots, but it's about an African American woman who her mother instilled in her that your hair has to be done a certain way. And she feels that way now. And again, not going to give away the whole details, but she had to go through some things to truly find who she was. And guess what?
Absolutely.
It didn't involve her hair. You know,
Because it doesn't.
it really doesn't. I mean, this right here that I'm working with, this
I
is
got
only,
gray
I
hair.
mean,
I don't dye it. I don't
oh,
care.
I
You
got
can't
gray
see because the
hair.
lighting's not that great, but yeah. One thing I will say, and I think you and I have taught, well, for me, I would say I was in my 30s when I finally realized to heck with it. I can't fit into these stick figure clothes. I'm just not built that way. And so I finally started looking for clothes to accentuate what I had instead
Yeah.
of trying to squeeze myself into somebody else's idea of what I should be. And that was huge. That actually, people were like, wow, what did you do different? I finally accepted that I'm just not a stick figure and I'm going to work with what I got. What a concept. And that
Yeah.
not all
No,
men want skinny women. Some guys,
no.
many guys like voluptuous women, and the more the merrier if you get realistic. If
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So, and then the other thing is I've always had breasts. Okay. So, and girls would say we're so lucky, right? Girls would say I'm so lucky, but so many of the men that I dated didn't care. They liked the butt. They were all about the butts.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Yeah.
different and everybody likes different things. And that's the point. There is no standard for
Absolutely.
one person. It's not even realistic. Because if you sit down and talk to these
No.
people, they'll tell you different things. Then why in the media and why in the commercials are they telling us this construct way that robs people of enjoying themselves and their own
Oh,
personal,
absolutely.
that's different with every individual? The beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right?
Absolutely. It really is. And I think that's the
Yes.
concept that we've gotten away from because, I mean, somebody may find Jessica Biel hot and attractive. Somebody may find Halle Berry hot and attractive. Somebody may find Stockard Channing hot and attractive. You know, it's all in
I remember when
whoever.
I was growing up, Christy McNichol.
Yeah.
Y'all, this dates me. Christy McNichol was a tomboy. I loved her. She didn't wear a stitch of makeup and she was hot. The guys loved her. I'm like, yeah, all right. Total tomboy, no makeup, wore pants, didn't wear dresses. It was awesome. I mean, I was so happy. So there are those moments in the entertainment where you get somebody that's the contrast to that shows you confidence goes a really long way.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually, it's the most important thing and that's what we're not taught. The real inner beauty is how you feel about yourself. And
Missy
right,
Elliott and Queen Latifah. I mean,
right.
they are two big,
I
beautiful
love Queen
women.
Latifah. She's
Oh, I love
gorgeous.
both of them.
And she could
You
sing
know,
too. I like her
yes, they
voice a
both
lot.
can, and
Yes.
they don't meet the standard, but they weaseled their. I say weaseled. They worked their way in, and they are a few of the exceptions. But I mean, even then, you know, there are still those people that would criticize them because they refuse to change how they look. But
The guy, what's his name? Pierce Brosnan. Is that his name? The guy 007.
yes, one of them anyway.
He's married to a model. She's put all of this weight on and they're just giving her a hard time. And I'm just like, that's abuse. To
Yeah.
pick on somebody because they're fat. Bullying, hello, people, it's abuse. It's harmful to other people. Let's call it what it is. Bullying, I could care less if you're calling it bullying. It's abuse and it's wrong. And it's time to put an end to it. You are
Absolutely.
harmful when you speak about somebody like that. You know what I mean? It's and it's so ingrained in our society on so many levels. Um,
I work with a girl. She blames everything that goes on with her body with the fact that she's bare. she doesn't actually know her body. She just blames everything on the fact that she's bigger because that's what she's been told.
Hmm. And
Anything that happens with
what
her
does this
body.
promote? Suffering to people for nothing. On a good note, something that came to my mind where I felt like we made a little bit of a turning point for the positive was Big Bang Theory.
Absolutely. They
It
made it
made it
cool to be a nerd.
it made it cool and maybe have a little weight. And but what it did was, their brains. And then of course you've got the blonde who's the actress that's with the nerd, and she dated all these hot guys, and in the end that didn't matter. It had nothing to do
Yeah.
with who you are as a person and what you bring to the table as a human being. And I think that series was just huge in breaking those destructive patterns and labels on face value, and what's considered acceptable and not acceptable socially or anything.
Yeah.
And it gave the nerds and the geeks and the bookworms a voice.
Absolutely. I
I
mean,
love that.
I wouldn't consider myself a genius by no means. But I always had my nose stuck in a book, or, you know, I'm a Batman nerd, I'm a Zelda
That's
nerd, I'm a
awesome.
Mario nerd. Um, and
Video
you know,
games that
they
that was
made
big.
it cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, oh, wait a minute. And suddenly it was like they were huge stars. And I love that. I think that was tremendous. And it helped to heal some of those
Absolutely.
ideas.
Absolutely. It made it to where we could, as a society, for just a moment, be comfortable with who we are. And I say just a moment because even though that happened, we still have, you know,
Yeah.
so many different venues where we're told that we are supposed to look a certain way.
The makeup
I feel like
commercials.
absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely. They get
Heaven
they get
forbid you
these.
should look like yourself. Sorry, I
Oh
didn't mean to cut
yeah,
you off.
we
Sorry.
get these. No, I was going to say we get these women that they have these false lashes that are put on to make it look like this mascara. You're going to get these types of lashes with this mascara, when in all actuality, all mascara does is enhance what you already have. You got short, stubby lashes. Well, it's going to make them a little bit longer. You got full lashes. Well, it's going to make it look even more full. You know what I mean?
But what's so destructive about it is like cover up.
Mm-hmm.
You're not good enough to be seen on your own. Like I did a video not long ago. People that maybe not everybody, but all my friends on my Facebook. I did a video, and I also came forward on the Tell Somebody site with just some face makeup, but that was a lot for me because
Yeah.
makeup has been a part of my daily routine since I was 14, 15 years old. When I was old enough,
Yeah.
to learn how to wear it. And, you know, and to just, and then I hear guys and people say, she doesn't wear enough makeup. She's too old not to wear makeup. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what kind of thing is that to say? I mean, it's like, why don't you just put a bag on your head, dude? You
It's become
know?
acceptable for men to wear makeup. I think it should become acceptable for women not to wear makeup,
Yes, thank you.
because
Yeah,
I don't. I mean, I don't see the point in it. I
it's
don't. I mean,
great. I love
I
that.
will wear mascara. Don't get me wrong. I will totally throw on some mascara and I'll throw on some like chapstick or whatever. But about the time I had my daughter, so I was about 18, 19 years old, that's when I kind of got out of the, oh my God, I gotta put a face on. And, I have tried to, I've tried to tell anybody that I come across that makeup is okay when you're wearing it for the right reason. If you're
For
wearing
fun.
it, yeah, if you're wearing it to try to prove to somebody that you are worth something, it's the
Years
wrong reason.
ago, Oprah Winfrey had this series where she would have um the women and men come on and they would do makeovers. And one woman in particular just blew my mind. She just had all this cakes of, thick eyelashes and tons of
Uh-huh.
pancake and the bleach hair. And I'm not judging anybody that does this, but
Oh no.
she was wanting to do something different. And anyways, I mean, wow, the transformation was jaw dropping. She had the lips drawn in too big and just you really didn't know what she really looked like. So when they took all the
Yeah.
makeup off and they gave her a soft haircut, I mean, I got goosebumps thinking about it. Honestly, it was jaw dropping. People were shocked, and she was shocked. She's like, "That's me? Yeah, that's you without all that stuff you didn't need. You were beautiful all by yourself, but you just
The
felt like you had
original
to."
the original idea of makeup was to enhance what you already have. But through the decades, because it didn't start getting really big until the 20s.
Yes,
And then it's
Hollywood, the
like
movies.
yeah, it's like somewhere through
Mhm.
the decades that it went, oh, you can
Glamour.
change the way you look, because you can contour your face to look different.
I was just
You
gonna
put on
say that
enough on
word.
it. There's a thing going on around YouTube. I think it originated on TikTok. I don't know because I'm not on TikTok, but it's a girl and she's contouring her face and she's going, um, the men can't know that we can shape shift because they're going to tell the
Oh,
church.
I
You
have a
know,
story on that one. I it's just a guy had told me that he really liked this girl, and she had the but he took her home and they woke up in the morning. It was like, and she got naked, and it was like, wait, what? You know what I mean? And she didn't have all that.
it's false
And
advertisement.
false advertisement, right? And it's so sad because he's like, who's this? And the poor girl, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, then he said she got upset. Well, you don't like me the way I am. Well, you don't like you the way you are. Why do you got all that
Right?
going on? You misrepresented
Yeah.
yourself by doing that. And then you're surprised that I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a makeup artist, is what he was telling me, but it was eye-opening to him. And then actually they ended up getting married, but so
Hey.
but it was funny, and it did make me, it was applicable to what we were talking about. But I don't have anything else on my list here. Is there any other point that comes to your mind on this subject before we wrap it up here?
Um, I remember, because I was born with a head full of straight hair, but I can remember I had friends that had, curly hair. And
Hmm.
back in the 80s and the 90s, the
Hair,
80s
that's
it
a
was
big one.
cool, but in the
Yeah.
in the in
It
the
was
90s,
big.
the big
In the
poofy
80s, the bigger the better. It was
perm, yeah. But
hilarious.
once you
Yeah.
hit the 90s, it was considered gross. And we
So
have
funny.
we have we have women that are raising their kids now to believe that their natural hair is gross. This is natural for me now,
Me too.
but
That's
you
it.
know
That's
i
it.
wasn't I wasn't like that back in the day, so I had to learn how to work with this. And I think it's wrong. I think if you're going to accept every aspect of yourself, you got to accept it all the way down to your hair and your
For sure.
toes.
And your toes. And you know, um, variety is the spice of life. It's what
Absolutely.
that quote means. And that is the truth, really, just in every way: self-expression, individuality, not conformity, not standards. That's a fake construct. It's not real.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't allow people to be themselves. So I think we talked about this, um, Mike Tyson was talking with that rapper guy and telling him the truth about all these things. And it was so great because he came in there all hard with an attitude. And by the end, he was like, I can say how I really feel. I can really be say that this bothers me, or, it's okay to be a human being,
Yeah.
let alone whether you're a man or a woman, to be human, and it's okay. And oh, that was so powerful. Anybody that's watching, look at him, Mike Tyson interviewing, I forget he was a rapper gang guy. Just type that in and it'll come up. So I highly recommend you watch it, because it's groundbreaking on the very stuff that we're talking about here today, so
I'm sorry. She's in here laying. Ruby's in
she's
here
so
laying on the
cute.
bed, and she's looking at me going, "Mama, what are you doing?"
Opal's gotten a
I
new addition to the family,
yeah,
a furry addition to the
yeah.
family.
We
It's so
rescued a
cute.
puppy. We've had her for about a month now,
That's so sweet.
and I couldn't
Aw.
imagine life without her now.
Oh, it's so sweet. I love it. I love it. All right, well, we're gonna wrap up here. Until next time, uh, we'll be coming forward and talking more about insecurities and where they come from. We don't have the next segment sorted out yet, but stay tuned. It'll be coming soon. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Opal. I know I always thank you, but really, truly, from the bottom of my heart, I wouldn't be here without you. So it's very much appreciated. And by the way, I get a lot of comments about you, and
Aw.
people are like, oh, that girl, I so identified. I got goosebumps just talking about it. I just keep getting the goosebumps today, but that's the
Well,
truth. So
it means a lot to me that people identify, because believe me, I'm not here just to have my face out here. It's, if anything, I'm like, can we do this without my face? But and it's not because I'm self-conscious. I don't want people to get attached to the person. I want them to get attached to the message. So it means a lot that people identify, and it means a lot that people listen. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm
Yes.
sharing everything, so that I can help somebody.
That's wonderful. I love that. Okay, guys, thank you so much. And if you want to contact me, I have a Facebook page. I have the YouTube channel. I have the School of Hard Knocks on Facebook. I'm going to be spreading out into other platforms soon, and I'll keep you guys posted on that. Thank you again, everybody. And until next time.